Hey everybody, good evening. Welcome back, and thank you all for coming back. And coming out on a cold evening, or at least hopefully everybody who's at home or is on Zoom is cozy, safe, and warm. Because yeah, boy, it's feeling like January out there. But enough about the weather. Welcome back to the Joy of Coding here at Portland State University, session two. And last, on Monday, we just figured out a whole bunch of stuff about the course, about the syllabus. Really broke ground on some things, created GitHub repositories. We'll be using the GitHub repositories tonight, so I hope everybody had a chance to get started with that. And tonight we're going to begin our exploration of the Java programming language using something called koans, which are these little teaching exercises that will help orient or reorient ourselves with the Java programming language. But first, I like to start out class with something called Prime Minister's Questions. I want to open it up for and ask me anything, Q&A, whatever you want to call it. It's an opportunity to sort of start off class with the things that are on your mind, to make sure if there's anything that you're wondering about, either something that either has occurred to you right before class or something you didn't have a chance to ask about on Slack or send me an email about. Let's start with that. So, what can I tell you? We've had whatever it is, 48 hours to experience the course. What's on your mind? Any questions, any observations, concerns, comments that you'd like to share? Yeah.
So I noticed that there's like 30 sessions, like last week.
Yeah.
And the videos are quite long. Is that what's it?
Great question. I'll repeat it for anybody who's remote. So the question was, hey, he was looking at the course homepage, and there's all this stuff here, including the lectures that consist of some PDF slides and then multiple screencasts, and especially these first ones. And actually, probably most weeks, yes, there is well over an hour of content. Yeah. My intent is that you do review it. For a couple of reasons. First of all, it will provide context for what we're doing, but it's also it's also best to ask questions about it so it's fresh. And I realize that with it being twice a week, consuming an hour and a half, and not just like watching it, but also understanding it, it might be a little bit for the Wednesday. So then find a pace that works for you. And so maybe it means prepping for Monday on Thursday or Friday or maybe Saturday. I don't know what your weekends are like. I'm sure you're out partying, going to the football game or whatever it is that students. I don't know. But yes, it'll help you have context for what's here in the course. And I've also staged here in lecture, but I've also staged things to correspond to the assignments that you'll have. So yes, the intent is that that you review that just as if you were reading a textbook. They still have textbooks in classes. That's still a thing. Yeah, maybe some of them. Right. Okay. Yeah. But yeah. But also, yeah, on the length of them, I know that like an hour long lecture is a lot to consume. I've tried to break them up, but I talk a lot. There's a lot I want to convey. So like I'm working on a new one now for databases. And I haven't edited it down, but it's like, oh, that was me like talking for an hour. Okay. And then when I edit it down, it's usually more like 40 minutes because there's some awkward pauses and ums and stuff that I take out. Anyway. But yes, that's the intent. Is that exactly? That's why I like using YouTube, right? It's like the best platform out there for watching video. And yeah, you can speed it up. It has automatic captions and stuff. If that helps you learn, and you can also download the transcripts. I think you can. Yeah. So stuff like that. Yep. That's how to consume. Great question. Thanks. What else is on your mind? Anything of interest? Anything that's puzzling or that you're pondering? Yeah.
It's something that Project Zero.
Project Zero. Yep.
It seems like it's a debate that it's supposed to be on that side class, but I think somewhere in there it sounds like it's class activities.
Yeah, it's probably up at the top. We'll talk more about Project Zero, the student project, next week. Actually, that'll be and maybe I should. I was thinking about that just now during office hours. I should probably move the Project Zero down closer to the student to when we actually use it, right? 100 years ago, when I started teaching the course, and we were doing Java coding on abacuses. Abacuses? What's the plural of abacus? I don't know. Yeah, I started out with like Project Zero, and then like after a couple of terms, like, oh, I don't need that, but I still kind of liked the student project because that was a really good place to start. So not, these days, I use it for demonstrating test-driven development, and also to give you an idea of what your projects are like, the sort of the shape and the form of them. But yeah, just to be clear, actually, let's open it up here. Um, Project Zero, uh, not for submittal, right? This is something for you to play with if you want. No one ever does. It's okay. We'll use it in class, and that will be the topic that we'll cover on Monday. Yes, on Monday. Good questions. Thanks.
Do you mean to share your screen?
I believe I am sharing my screen. Can other
I
people?
don't, I don't see your screen.
I don't know. Okay, is that can other people who are on Zoom not see it? I'll try sharing it again.
I can see it.
Oh, really?
I can see
Oh,
it.
hold on.
Okay. No, thanks for speaking up. I know that's sometimes, yeah.
Okay, because I just see the your camera. Hold on.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh yeah, Zoom. Like, can you click on someone? Does it like just show that they're the?
You can actually focus on the.
Is that what it's focusing on? Yeah, I think I've made that mistake too.
Oh, okay, so do you just have your camera on? Is that it?
No, I should be sharing my screen. It might be like on your end. I know that sometimes, and since I'm a presenter and a host, and the probably works a little different for me. But like, yeah, if you maybe you accidentally clicked on me or somehow set me to focus, um, then on that, and so then there's probably some setting under. Oh, I want to select maybe the view menu or something.
Oh, I see. Okay, it was a different tab. Okay, I'm not
There you
used to
go. Oh,
this.
that's right. They have those tabs now. Yeah, right.
Okay, there. Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah, no, thank you for speaking up though, because yeah, you want to be. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of stuff to watch tonight. Yeah, we're going to be doing a lot of coding. Cool. Okay. Let's see here. Anything else that's on your mind as we get started in class? Okay. Tonight we're going to talk about the Java programming language, and we're not going to talk. We're going to see the Java programming language. I encourage you all to play along at home. I'll try. And sorry, I mean like in the audience in the classroom wherever you are. Yeah. So that you can sort of get a feel for things because this is your first project. We're going to break ground on your first project here. And my intent is that we can sort of go at a pace together. So if anyone needs me to repeat something, or like I'm going too slow, or like, yeah, we got this figured out, great. I'm also going to pause for feedback to make sure that everything's working in your environments. My laptop's been around the bend a little bit, and so then it's kind of the job is sort of like worn into ruts on my computer. But for some of you, the environment might be need some configuration and stuff like that. So let's get started. Okay. So, Java Koan. So this is actually your first project. And let's see here. Good. Just gonna leave this off. Well, actually, maybe we could let them there. Anyway, I want to see the chat go by if there is any. Make it more narrow. And move this over here. Oh, maybe put up a persistence. Well, I think this is gonna be fine. Hopefully that's readable enough for people during the classroom. Okay. So the first project in the course is to give you experience working with the Java programming language. Now, as we talked about on Monday, most people had seen Java. It was probably a while for folks, and there are probably some aspects of the language and the APIs that you focus on, some things that are new to you. And to get you familiar with Java before you really start diving into using APIs and to doing more complex assignments, we use something called we have us do these what are called Java Koans or Koan. I don't know if it's Koan or Koan. If I probably use it interchangeably because I don't know how to say it. So a koan is a teaching question. It comes from Buddhist discourse, and I apologize for the cultural appropriation. But the idea here is that it's meant to be an insightful question, which is about thinking and learning, and there's often subtleties involved. And that's what these things aspire to be. Luckily, most of them are pretty easy. But the idea here is that they're a little piece of code, a little code snippet that teaches you about a particular aspect of the language or an API or an interaction of how things work. And I've used them a lot over the years, and I found it's a really good way to help people get started with the programming with Java as opposed to sort of throwing you into like, go solve this assignment. Yeah, so this will help there. Now, actually, I want to call out that this is not my work. I've done a little bit with it to make it sort of fit into the to Maven and how the class works and things, how my projects work and stuff like that. But these are mostly written by a guy named Matt Bentley and other contributors from the open source community. That's where you can find the original form. Really good stuff, and there are a number of them. It really helps you get a feel for all of the Java language stuff that you'll need for this course. So to get started with the project, there is a script that will create it. And just like all of the scripts, it needs to be run from the PSU CS department's Linux machines. So oops, I'll get rid of that. And so let's see here. I will SSH to my account on the CS department's Linux machines, and I put my checkouts here. And this was Joy of Coding, Winter 2026. Okay, great. There is this Create Koans project. So we're going to run that Koans project. And what that will do is it'll create a new Java project, a new Maven project with the beginnings, with all the source code that you need for these koans. Oops, that's a little tall for my screen. There we go. And so you should be seeing something like this. Now, actually, when you run it, they'll probably like download 1,000 jar files from the internet, as I think maybe some of you are experiencing. But that's fine. That's normal. I've done that already, so I only need to do it once, although it looks like it did download this archive catalog there. And so see, I think I see some of you typing along. Is that matching other people's experiences where you're like, okay, good. Excellent. Okay, so now that you've run that script, I'm going to do a git status. And you'll see two things that have changed. One is this pom.xml. And just to sort of give a little preview, basically what this does is it added a new module to this set of projects called koans, and there is also a corresponding koans directory. I want to commit both of these things to Git, so I'll use git add to add the pom.xml and the koans directory. And now if I do status again, great, we'll see that there's a whole bunch of files that were changed in the koans directory and the top level pom.xml. Okay. Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and commit those. And it'll say added koans project. Great. And now I'm going to push that up to GitHub. Great. And I think I'm done with the PSU machine for now. And just to show that this stuff works, I'm going to go to GitHub and I'm going to go to, let's see, the Joy of Coding, winter 2026. Oops, lame. Do it that way. And then repositories, and go to this one. And we should see that, yep, the latest commit is add koans project. Good, so everything got pushed up there. And now I'm back on my own laptop because I can tell because I'm in my ~PSU directory, and I will do a git pull. Okay, great. So I pulled down all the koans source code, and I can see that I've now got koans directory here in my checkout. Sounds good. Okay, just want to pause. If people playing around at home all seem to make sense. Everything working so far? Okay. Now,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, question? Yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say I just need to do the poll, then I'll be good.
You need to what? Sorry, do a poll.
Yeah, that's the point that I'm at, but I'll
Okay.
be good. Yeah.
Good. Yep. Okay. So, I've got the source code on my machine, and now I want to work with the source code. So, we didn't talk about it last time because, well, it wasn't on the agenda. But the projects that we work with in the joy of coding are probably more complex than certainly like the 100 level courses. There are lots of files involved. There's comparatively a lot of tooling involved, working with Maven, and you'll have frameworks and libraries like Jane and all sorts of stuff like that. And as a result, your experience will be greatly enhanced if you use an IDE, an integrated development environment. Right. And so then this is, if you've used something like IntelliJ or VS Code before, hopefully you've seen these things. The whole idea is that it's a program that makes it much easier to navigate, to work with, and to run your code. What I'll be demonstrating throughout the course using IntelliJ, which is my preferred and the preferred IDE, and the IDE is preferred by many Java developers. Although I've had a lot of students that do use VS Code. That's fine if you're familiar with that. I can't support you with it, and so if something weird happens, I'll probably just give you a dumb look because I don't know. But anyway, I'll be demonstrating IntelliJ. So I will open up IntelliJ. And and by the way, let's see here. Do I have a link off to it? Oh, there you go. So probably under before class. Yeah, I recommend that you install IntelliJ, and also it has an academic license, and I think all you need to do is just use a .edu email, and then upload a copy, upload a picture of your photo of your college ID or whatever. They are they're very they want you to use their software, and so then it's easy to get and an academic license, and it's a full academic license. It's a full license to get all the features. It's really quite nice. Okay. Oh, note that I use light mode in IntelliJ. I know for some of you it would hurt your eyes. I get it. I'm the opposite. I don't know if it's because I'm old or whatever, but it's like I need the contrast. And if someone shows me, blue text on a black background, I just cannot see it. So, sorry. I'm gonna do, it's gonna be light mode for the stuff that I show. And sometimes it looks a little funny. Like I don't know why there's that blue there. Anyway. So you're going to open IntelliJ. I've got some products that I've already opened, but when you open it up, it'll be blank. And so then what I want to do now is I want to open up the source code that's there in my checkout, that's there in my repository, my Git repository. And so then I want to click open because I've already got a file on disk. Although you can get projects directly from a repository if you want to integrate that into IntelliJ. That's not the workflow that I'm using right now. But I'll go through and find, here it is, great, coding winter 2026. And I want to select the top level pom.xml file. So we're going to open up the pom.xml file at the very top level of the checkout. And it's going to ask me would I like to open it as a file or as a project. And I want to say, I want to open it up as a project. So you've got a couple of kind of different levels of projects that you'll be working with here. The lowest level one is the Maven project itself, which is configured through the pom.xml. And we'll talk about Maven in more detail in a couple of weeks. If you want to skip ahead to the lecture, go ahead, fine. But for tonight, just hear me now and believe me later. The pom.xml represents the project itself, and you can build the project using Maven on the command line, which we'll see in a little bit. IntelliJ also has a notion of a project, which is independent of Maven or Gradle or any other build system that you use. But IntelliJ is smart enough to interpret a Maven project and store it internally, or model it internally to IntelliJ. So bottom line is that Maven is a concept of a Java project, and IntelliJ has a concept of a Java project, and you sort of marry the two together by opening up a pom.xml. Pom is the Maven configuration file, as a project in IntelliJ. So that's why you want to click open as a project. Okay, so you open it as a project, and IntelliJ analyzes the pom.xml file and everything else, sort of like get the lay of the land of your checkout. Now, right now, there's only one project in the checkout, but in the coming weeks, we'll be adding more. Yes, question. Very good question. Are we opening the pom.xml in the Joy of Coding or in the koans? The Joy of Coding, the very top level one. If you don't, it'll still open. It'll still look like it works, but you'll find that things aren't exactly right. There's some dependencies it won't be able to find because it's just looking at koans. You want to give IntelliJ a view of the entire project ecosystem, so you want to open up the pom.xml in the top level. Great question. So IntelliJ is now fully open. It's opened the project. And I'm just going to walk through things a little bit here to give you the lay of the land. On the right are the editors. So by default, it opens up the readme.md. That's part of the project. And so here's the readme that was copied from the Getting Started repository. And over here on the left is a navigation panel that lets you navigate the project in various different views. I just usually leave it in, I leave it in project mode, but there are other ways that you can configure it. And this is the file system browser, right? Basically. But it does know about certain things. So it knows, for instance, that like the .idea directory, which is where configuration files for IntelliJ IDEA, are configured. It's grayed out because I guess it's a dot file, and so then it makes it grayed out because it's in the file system. There's other files here, and there's this koans directory that is in bold because it is a sub project, right? It has its own pom.xml. So when you learn about Maven, you'll see that you can nest various projects. And so then when we next week when we create the student project, you'll see that there's a student directory with the student pom.xml. When we learn about project one and you create the phone bill project, you'll see a phone bill directory show up. So anyway, preview of future events. And so then here you can browse things. We'll be looking at the source directory here shortly, but anyway, it allows you to do all that. And plus you can see the scripts. So as I hope you figured out, yep, over here on the left, you're just looking at the file system. So what we've done so far is we've created the source code, had to do that on the PSU machines, pushed it, committed and pushed it up to GitHub, pulled it down to our local repository, and now we've opened it up in IntelliJ. I want to pause there for any observations, any questions that you might have about what we've done so far. Yeah. Yep. Oh, interesting. I'm not a sage tunneling, so no. I'll get excellent question. Okay, so sorry, I forget your name. It's Jay. Jay. Hey, right. Yeah. So Jay asked a good question. He's like, hey, listen, I've got the source code on the PSU machine, the source code on my on my laptop. But you said they weren't talking to each other. You mean that like if you pushed it up to So I share the source code through GitHub. So I push it up to GitHub and then I pull it back down. Are you using that same approach or using a different approach? Yeah. Okay. So when you did the pull onto your laptop, did you not see the things that you had added? Yeah, so that's sort of the way. No, good question, right? This is how we move code from one machine to another is by committing the changes, pushing them up to GitHub, and then pulling them down onto your local machine. And once you have that, okay, so you did that, everything showed up. Great. Okay, good. Yep. No, excellent question. I'm glad you asked that. And this workflow might be unfamiliar to some of you. And that's okay. You'll see it a lot in this class. So we doing it a lot yourself, and then when we do our group programming, when we do our group program, our pairing and our mobbing, you'll really see it a lot because you'll see the code flowing between various people's laptops. So here, I think I saw a couple of posts just now. Nice thing. Yeah, thanks, Jeremy, for talking about how the IntelliJ license is approved. Let's see here. So Alex didn't have a top .idea file. That might necessarily be a problem. Alex, are there other things that you're either things that you see that are surprising or that you don't? Well, okay, if things seem to be working for you and you don't have an idea directory, that might be okay. It might have just something to do with the version of IntelliJ that I'm using. or something else about my environment. So I think as you start working with things, and you'll see examples of this tonight, if you start seeing that things are a little bit amiss, please, raise your hand. And well, let's see here. Opened as a file, I can see. Okay, you guys. Okay, yeah, it's opened as a project. Good. I'm glad that Yolaine, sorry if I'm butchering your name, was able to see it. So it might be okay that you don't have a .idea, as long as things are working okay. I think I would, make sure that like the koans directory is bold. For me, that's a good indicator that IntelliJ understands what's going on. If it's not, if it's just seen as a plain old directory, then maybe there's some stuff that needs to be configured. Okay, good. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Great question. A very relevant one. So yeah, he was saying it's like, hey, I'm using Java 25, Linux machines are 21. Is that gonna be a problem? It should be. I'm pretty sure I've actually let me double check. I think I build the code. What am I looking at here? There we go. GitHub. I'm just gonna look at something really quick. Okay, I'm building it with Java 24. I guess I forgot to do that. I think it'll be okay. Yeah. Because ultimately, things get compiled down to bytecode that's compatible with like Java 7 or something like that. Well, thanks for asking. Okay. Nice. Okay, so for everybody who's playing along, who's sort of gotten this far, I realize that if you're installing IntelliJ, it probably take a few minutes to get everything set up, but okay. Oh, and of course, one thing that I didn't mention here is that you'll need to install the Java runtime, the Java development kit, which hopefully IntelliJ made pretty easy for you. If not, I have some links. Let's see here. I guess over here, there's a Java development kit. And I like using the Adoptium distribution of Java. It makes it really easy to download, just like an installer for whatever platform that you're running on. It's good stuff. Yeah, Java 25 ought to be okay. Okay. Anything else I can tell you before we move on? Yeah. Talk more about the koans. So let's see here. We've gone through this stuff. We've created it, and now okay. So the koans have this. There's two aspects of the koans. One is the code itself, which are the koans, where you'll be changing that code to make things pass. We'll spend most of our time tonight doing that. But there's this other component, which is which tells you how it tells you about the progress that you've made towards the koans, and it tells you like what the next koan for you to do is. And this is actually a command line program that's written in Java. So the way you invoke that program, I'm going to do it here in a separate window because I'm something like that, is you say the following. So here you have a script called Maven W, or if you are on Windows, use mavenw.cmd. This is the Maven wrapper. This will invoke Maven. Maven's the build system for the Java projects. And you want to say the following. You want to say exec:\Java, which is telling Maven to run the main method of a Java program. Don't worry, we'll get into the details later. So when we run this command for this project, it will launch the koans runner, the engine that runs the koans, and it prompts you for what to do next. So the whole idea here is that inside the koans project are a bunch of Java classes that have these little methods that are meant to teach you something about the language syntax. And there's this main program that will tell you what to do next. It basically guides you through the koans. So let's read what it's telling us. It's like, hey, there is a file called about koans that lives in the koan source beginner directory. And there is a method that starts with the @koan annotation called find about koans file. Look within it for your first lesson. Once you have solved that, save the file and check back for your next lesson. And then it's like ponder what's going wrong in the about koan classes find about koans method. And then line 11 may offer a clue as how to progress. Now make haste. Okay, it's a little drastic. Okay, so we are looking for a file called about koans.java in koans source beginner. So over here in IntelliJ, one way to find this is navigate to it. So I open up the koans directory, source, beginner, about koans. Note how IntelliJ is displaying the contents of the beginner directory, not as file names on the end with .java, but as these entries that have the letter C next to them for a class called about koans. This is an indication that IntelliJ is interpreting your project correctly. If you see about koans.java, it's probably an indication that IntelliJ didn't recognize that you're actually working with a Java project, and you might need to do a little bit of surgery to get IntelliJ to get all synced up. But let's open up about koans and see what's up with it. Is that readable for everybody? Should I make it a little bigger? Yes, please. Okay, yeah, I'll make it a little bigger. There we go. Nice. Okay, hopefully that's better. Now, oh, it looks like it collapsed this. So nice. Okay, so the koans were telling me find the find about koans file method. Find about koans file. Great. And there's something wrong with this method. Well, what looks wrong with this method? Exactly. What it does is it just says, fail. And so what do we do to make it pass? We want to make these koans pass. Delete it. Right. It's even telling you so. Good. Okay, so we will, delete that. And so we were on find about koans file. Now we're going to go back to the command line. And the command line program will detect that you made a change to the file. It'll reload the file and then tell you sort of what the current state of things. Okay, well, the text is different now. And oh, look, it is our progress indicator has moved. We've done number 1 out of 268. Got 268 of these things. Yeah, that's why we get a good head start tonight. So, okay, what is it telling us now? Koan is considered complete when it no longer throws an exception. Often there is more than one way to solve a koan, but there's only one correct way. This is often hinted at within the koan itself, or the comments appearing here. And then ponder what's going wrong in the about koan class's definition of koan completion method. Line 17 may offer a clue. Okay. Let's take a look at line 17. Okay. So now this is definition of koan complete. It calls the fail method. We don't want the fail method to be called. How could we change this code to make it so that the koan passes? So I heard the word true. Oh yeah, set koan is complete to true. Nice. Now, thank you. Thank you, AI, for suggesting a comment. Okay, and now let's see if it works. So we had 1 out of 268, and now we have 2 out of 268. That's good. And so this is like what a koan's all about. It starts out and it fails because something is missing or something is wrong. And the goal here or the intent is that by reading the code and understanding what it does, you can make it pass. And this is where the learning comes from. This is where the teaching comes from. And it's more about understanding, what the code does and how it does it, not just getting it to work. But I think you all figured that. Okay, good deal. Let's go see what the command line is telling me now. Okay. The underbar are an attempt to communicate the need to fill in an answer. Judging by context, what should underbar be replaced with? And now it's saying, ponder what's going around in the about assertion classes, assert Boolean true method. Line 13. We offer some clue. And what went wrong? Expected something other than underbar, but was underbar. Okay. We want the about assertions class, and we're still, and this is assert Boolean true. So now we'll look over here and find about assertions. Oh, really small. Okay. Let's go to this. We can see it. Okay. Assert Boolean true. So basically, what it's saying, it's calling this assert true method, and it's saying, hey, you need to put something in here. Yes. Yep. Oh yeah, yeah. Yep. Oh wow. Let's see here. Sorry. Great. And can you scroll up, or actually, can you bring your laptop up here? I'll take a look. This is good. Alternatively, I suppose you could join the Zoom, but whatever. Let's take advantage of the fact that we're here.
So, yeah.
Okay, it's downloading the world. That's cool. So scroll down. This looks all okay. Yeah, looks like it. Okay, build failure. No plugin. Oh, looks like you misspelled it.
Oh, I did.
Yep.
Great.
Yep. Okay, that's all right. Yep. So yeah. The it was misspelled in the command line. EXEC. No, that's all right. Look, hey, that was an easy one, right? Yeah. Okay. So, what do you see in this method? This assert Boolean true. Uh, what's your interpretation? What do you see? What ideas and questions spring to mind? Okay. So yeah, I think your instincts are saying, hey, listen, I want to replace this underbar underbars. This is kind of like Mad Libs, right? With the value true. So these assert methods, right? You've heard the word assert, right? So the whole idea is that you say, hey, there is a statement that I assume is true, that I am saying, yes, this is a true statement. And so what you want in the assert true is to have an expression, a value over here that ultimately is true. So I think by saying assert true of the value true, then it ought to pass. So let's see if we get assert Boolean true working. Yep, that was it. Okay, now line 18. Let's look at what line 18 says. Oh, okay, assert false. Well, what do you think, kids? Yeah. Let's find out. Can you put a 1 or a 0? So what number would you like to put in there? A 1, okay. I like where we're going with this. It's like this. Let's experiment. Let's see if it works. Well, let's see here. This is still assert Boolean true. It looks like it failed because it expected the value true, but was the value 1. Oh, that teaches you something. So in Java, 1 is not the same as true, and that's absolutely right. So I think there's further koans about that, but yes. So in Java, Boolean, something of type Boolean is either the keyword true or the keyword false. Nope, we can't use numbers to represent Boolean values. But this is the nice thing about these koans, right? And don't worry, you're not going to break anything, right? You're not going to your computer isn't going to catch on fire, and the Java police aren't going to come after you. If you have questions like that, try it out, see what happens. Be scientists. Okay, what about this thing? Assert false. What do you think goes here? False. Yes. Okay. Yep. That's good. Great. Now we're at 4 268. Okay, so the whole idea is that there's the koans framework has all of these assert methods that it then will use that you'll see in future koans, which is all about making statements of truth with regards to the state of your program. Okay. Okay. Assert null object. So you have a call to assert null that currently is failing because there's no value provided to it. What value should we provide it to the assert null method? No, right? Okay, and so then the intent here is that okay, this teaches you about the null keyword in Java, right? Because null is its own concept in Java. So just like Boolean false is not 0, well, a null reference to an object, or rather a reference to no object at all, is represented with the keyword null. 5 268. Okay. Asserts null object reference. Okay, so here we have a variable called some object, and we want the assert null to be true. Right now, it fails because no value is here. What value should we put here with 200 bars? Yeah, null. Let's see here. I think that one worked. Yeah, assert not null object. And IntelliJ is kind of telling you some things. It has a gray underline here, saying, "Oh yeah, the value of some object is always null." And so I don't. Yeah, so it's like saying, well, we could replace it, and maybe a little small, but it's like, well, we could replace it with null, or there's other things that we could do. This is fine the way it is. But yeah, nice. Okay. Okay, assert not null object. Okay, this is another assertion method called assert not null. Right now it's failing because the value null is passed in. What can we do to make this koan pass? Yeah, okay, yeah. So name your favorite integer. I'm sure you have many. 211. I like it. Okay, let's see here. No, not 211. Why is it like, okay, like why is AI like, oh no, a much better example is 2112. I mean, oh, at least it's not saying 67. Okay, fine. Okay. Thanks. Okay, let's see what that does. Yeah, it seemed to work. Nice going. Okay, let's keep going. Okay. Assert equals using expression. Okay. So one of the things that you'll learn about, I guess, in the lecture associated with tonight, is the equals method. Now, as you may recall, all classes in the Java programming language ultimately derive from the Java lang object class. So in Java, all objects, all classes have a common ancestor. And object has some methods on it, like equals and hash code and cloning. You can learn about in lectures. So it means that every object in Java has an equals method that basically says, hey, listen, am I equal to this other object? And it's up to the class of the object to define exactly what equality means. By default, unless a class overrides equals, it'll inherit the equals method from Java lang object, which basically says that two objects are equal only if they are the same object. Actually, we'll cover that in the koan here a little bit later. But anyway, this koan is introducing you to the equals object. Now, it's currently failing because we want to assert true that when you have the string hello world, when you call dot equals on something, that it returns a true value because equals returns a Boolean, true or false. What value do you think we need to put in here to make this koan pass? Yeah, hello world with an exclamation point. So here's how you deal with strings in Java. So in the Java programming language, strings are delimited by double quotes. So text between double quotes is a string object, it's a string type. So it's not a character array like it is in C or C++. It is a string object type. And so then, yeah, this ought to work. Yep, 8 out of 268. IntelliJ highlighted this as a yellow. It says, oh yeah, equals is called on itself. That's probably not what you want to do, right? In a normal program, that's a little smelly. So it says it's kind of, it's like, hey, it's not illegal. It'll compile, it'll run, but are you sure that word means what you think it means? So yes. But we're just going to leave it like this for the sake of the koans. Okay. Before moving on, how are we doing? It's all making sense. Sort of getting the pattern. Okay, great. Because we got like another hour. Okay. Cool. Let's just do a couple more of these, and then we'll move on. Okay. So then our next koan is about the assert equals method. Now, assert equals takes two arguments and asserts whether or not they are equal to each other. For this first one, assert equals of the string hello world. Well, what do you think that one should be for the second argument? Yeah, Yeah, string hello world again. What? Yeah. So, oh, actually, let's find out. Yeah, yeah. Okay. So the AI was being helpful. It's like, oh well, you must have meant the string hello with plus the string world. So yeah, let's look at that and see if it actually. Well, we won't tell if it passed because there's a whole bunch of ones here. It will pass. So in Java, the okay, Java doesn't have operator overloading. So in C++, you probably all learned about it. You can have the minus operator mean something completely different, and you can use like greater than to mean download a file from the internet. Okay. Um, uh, Java said, no, 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 that makes the language really complex. It makes it hard to read the code. It doesn't have operator overloading, or at least user-defined operator overloading. The language itself overloads. I'm trying to think. Other than plus, is it? No, not really. The only operator that is overloaded in Java is the plus operator. Plus normally works on numeric types like integers or doubles, or things like that. But plus can also be used to concatenate a string with some other piece of data, with some other object or primitive type. And so then when for the plus operator, if either of the operands to the operator is a string, then it means string concatenation. So when you have the string hello space concatenated with the string world exclamation point, then you'll get the string hello world. But let's get the rest of these working, and then we'll see if this one actually works. Okay, so here are some variations of the assert equals method that take numbers. So, okay, what's this one? 1, yep. And so 2 plus foo is, yeah, you can say 5 minus 1. Yep. Oh, let's find out. Let's get it passing, and then let's see if it doesn't work. So yeah, so let's go through these. 2 times 3. So this is an example of the various arithmetic operators, right? So just like in C, star means multiply. Oh, and I see there's a question that came in. I will get to that in a moment. Uh, ooh, 3 minus 8. What's the value here? Yeah, -5. And the way you express that in Java is just saying -5. So exactly the same syntax as C. And then 10 divided by 2 is +5. Let's just see if this works. We go from 8 out of 268 to 9. All those passed. So then hello.world, the concatenation did work here. Before we get to the question about will 4.0 work, I want to see what's posted here. Still having troubles getting the .slash exec in Java to work. I saw the JDK and it edited the environment variables, was failing during the build. I have no idea what could be wrong. Well, and I'm sorry, could you please say your first name? I want to make sure I'm pronouncing it right.
It's Yolaine.
Yolaine?
Yeah, Yolaine.
Excellent. Great. Thank you. I can remember that. So Yolaine, that sounds like a problem that you might be having as well. I appreciate you asking about it. Would you mind sharing your screen and we can work with it, work you through it with the class?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. Let me
Let me
enable the ability for you. Actually, I forgot. Oh, thank you. Awesome. Yeah, I want to make sure I give you permission to share. Let's see here. I will say 1 participant at a time. Okay, great. And now everybody can share. So yeah, I believe you should have the ability to share your screen now. Would you please do so?
Okay, it says replace current share.
Do it.
Okay.
Boot me off the system. It's okay.
Okay, cool. All right, yeah. Can you see the application or the
Oh, I can. And look, it's on a
yeah.
separate tab, just like you said it would be. Okay, excellent. Let's see the error. Oh, look at that exception initializer.
Yeah.
Um. Oh, that's a very good question. Um. Well, it looks like it's finding some com sandwich stuff is koans. Oh, file not found exception. Oh, look at that in the app config. Oh, what is that? I've seen that before.
Uh-oh.
Interesting. Okay. Um, let's see here. Could you scroll down to the bottom where you can see the command input? Yeah, so it looks like it can't find the messages properties. Oh, and it does. I think yes. I think maybe someone had a similar experience and had some luck. So yeah, if you go all the way down to where you can then type, great. Yeah, it looks like you're in the top level directory, and something I forgot to point out, and it was kind of subtle. You should be executing that Maven command from the koans directory. So,
Oh,
yep, yeah,
okay.
right. Yep, koans. Yep, nice. And now try it
Okay.
again. Yeah, no, excellent. Yeah, nice. Up arrow. Sweet. Very smart. Oh, wow. That was neat. It's looking more
Okay,
promising.
there we go. All
Hey,
right. Oh my
okay,
goodness.
good. Thank you for asking. Like I said, you're probably not the only person that's come across that. And yet, there are subtleties like this. Welcome to software, right? I think we've all been there. Um, and how, yeah, but sometimes, makes it's a very, very subtle thing. And yeah, boy, I'm trying to think about how I could. That was a really interesting error. I'll ponder about how I can make that experience better for other people because yeah, it's like second class the first time we've run a real Java program and stuff. But it looks like it's yeah working better for you.
Yeah, yeah. I think next time we should specify to do it in colons. I don't know if it was specified in the actual document or I missed it, but like,
Hey, I'll call my lawyer here, but I bet it was. Yeah, it was. Yeah, whatever. Right. Okay. Yeah. So yeah. But yeah, hey, I'm going really fast and like little stuff like that, it's easy to miss, no problem. But good. We got you squared away.
all right, thank you so much.
You are welcome. Nice. Let's see here. I'll replace the current share and I'll share my screen. All right. Okay. So we made this koan pass, and then so that's a really good question. Is 2 plus 2 the same as 4.0? What do people think? Get your DraftKings and go bet on it. Kids today with their sports.
I say that it is.
Sorry, that was probably a serious comment on the line. What was that?
I just said that it is equal.
You think it's going to be equal? Yeah, good deal. Anybody want to advocate for it not being equal? Equal? Okay, why do you think it's not equal? Oh, yeah, one's floating point and the other one. Yeah. Got it, right. 4.0 is not the same as 4, right? So, okay, I don't know. Let's find out. Went from 8, 9 back to 8. Okay, so something failed here. Oh, expected 4, but was 4.0. Huh. Again, experiment with these things. When you have that kind of question, give it a try. Right? The worst thing that's going to happen is that, okay, yep, now it failed. You go back and undo it, which is what we're going to do. Right? We're just going to, Command Z it. Oh, and speaking of keyboard shortcuts, you may have noticed that when I use a keyboard shortcut, a little thing pops up here. Like, I don't know, I do a control B or whatever, it goes to the declaration. Oh, when I navigate back, when I navigate back, it tells you this. I have this little pop up here for your benefit. Probably not so much tonight, but you will see me use the keyboard shortcuts a lot. Maybe it's because I used Emacs so much in my youth. I don't know. Maybe it's because for me, I think it's because the keyboard, I can go as fast as my brain, or maybe with all those piano lessons I had as a kid. Anyway, I use keyboard shortcuts a lot. I will try to the first time I use something, I'll use menus so you can sort of see it. But after a while, I'll start using keyboard shortcuts. And I know sometimes, but it's hard to know. You can't see me. You can't see what I'm typing. You can't see what keyboard shortcut I'm using. And so we get that little pop up instead to help teach you, especially if you're someone who likes to use keyboard shortcuts also. Nice. Okay. Let's do a couple more of these. This koan is still all about just these assertion methods. Here's this next one. And oh, I'm gonna hide this so that we can see the whole screen. That's better. Oh, and I want to chat back up so I can see if people are chatting. Great. Okay. Assert equals with descriptive message. Now, the assert equals method is overloaded to take 3 arguments. The last 2 are the expected value and the actual value, and then the first argument is a message that is included when the message that is printed out when the assertion fails. So if you look at the command line right now, it's saying what went wrong, and then the answer to life, universe, and everything should be 42. And this text comes from, the string right here in the assertion. So this is a nice thing. So like if the assertion does fail, it'll give you a hint as to why. Okay, so then what should the value here be? 42. Go from 9 to 10. Yay, good. Okay. Here's a couple more assertion methods. Is assert same. Okay, here we go. Now, we have some variables here of type I integer, capital I integer. You'll learn about this in the lecture, or maybe you already have. There are primitive types in Java, like little I int, and then for every primitive type, there is an object type, because in Java, primitives are not objects. So then for every primitive type, there is a corresponding wrapper class for the primitive type, which is like capital I integer. And so then these are objects, and so they have things like equals methods, and they they can have their own methods. You'll learn about those APIs in the lectures. But you can also create instances of them. And here, what we're looking to do here is talk about how these two instances of how these integer objects that we work with are related to each other. So we have a variable called original, we have a variable called same, and we have a variable called different that are all assigned in various ways. And then these two, I believe these two assertions pass, right? Because it's telling me that line 72, offers a clue. So 69 and 70 both are passing. So, original and same are equals to each other, and original and different are equals to each other, okay? But are they the same? So what is original the same object as? Same, okay. Yeah, let's give that a try. We go from 10 to 11, and that passed. So what is this koan telling you? Like, what do you think this is trying to teach you? Yeah. Yeah. Right. Yeah, excellent. It reminded you of pointers. That's exactly right. So technically, Java doesn't have pointers because you can't do pointer arithmetic. You can't have a reference to an object and say, oh, add 8 to it. Nope. So that's why it says, we're not pointers. But it does have what are called references, meaning that, hey, this variable right here refers to an object, or even an object that has a field that refers to another object. Right? And so two references are the same if they refer to the same object. And the way you compare if you compare two references and want them to be the same, you use the equals equals operator. However, as we saw with the strings, there's also a notion of two objects being equal. And that means that their equals method determines that they are equivalent objects. So that's why you have that's why original and the same object are the same, but original and different are equal because they both represent the integer 1. All right, and that's what this is meant to be. Okay, well, here's not same. Okay, here we go. Currently, it is failing because we're saying original and same are not the same, but actually this one should be different. So here again, when this is trying to, and actually, well, we'll see it pass. Nice. Well, all right. And so what this is saying is like, hey, listen, original and different are initialized with different objects. So even though they both represent they're different objects. Even though they both represent the number 1, they are in memory are allocated as separate objects, and so they are not the same. Now, this is sort of a fundamental concept within the Java programming language that's reinforcing. But it's also showing you that there are these assert same and assert not same methods in the koans assertion framework that you might see again in later koans. Okay, and we're at the end of the koan. Any thoughts, any observations, any remaining quandaries regarding this koan? So getting the just things. Right, okay, cool. Okay. So we have some source code, a source code that is stored in Git and is resides in GitHub. And we've made some changes to it, right? So like if we go and quit out of this thing and we say git status, you'll see we made some changes. We made some changes to the about assertions and the about koans classes. Cool. And if we look here in IntelliJ, you may have noticed that when we make a change to a line, over here in the margin, there's this little blue indicator that shows up. And it shows up because there's a change to it. It's now the code, the file locally is different from the file that has been committed to Git. And if you hover over the blue thing in the margin in the gutter and click on it, it lets you do some things to that change. As a matter of fact, you can even commit it in line, which is kind of neat. But you can do things like roll it back, meaning revert it to its checked-in state. You're going to want to do that, and so I'll just store it. You can also do things like, I don't know, copy the change. You can navigate to the next change, stuff like that. And it gives you, and it also gives you a preview of like what has changed. I point this out because one of the nice things about IntelliJ and most IDEs is they have really good integration with your source code control with something like Git, and so you can find it there. So one of the things that I like to do, you'll see me do it a lot in the class, is use the IDE to interact with Git. I'm not sure I can go back to the command line, but I find it's much easier to do it in the IDE. And actually, I find that it has some nice guardrails in it to just make the workflows easier. So there over here on the left, you can navigate back to the project view. There's also a commit view of it, and the commit view shows you tells you what's changed. So it tells you these two classes have changed. And by the way, things that have changed are in blue in IntelliJ. So blue means a change. And there are two files here. And so you can select them. And here, right in IntelliJ, you can enter your commit message. So I'll say, got the first two koans to pass. And you can commit from here, or you can commit and push up to GitHub. I'm going to commit and push up to GitHub. So it probably was telling me, there were 4 errors and 24 warnings. That's okay. Everything passes. I'm fine with it. So I'm going to say commit and push anyway. Commit anyway and push. And so it's committed to the local checkout, and now it's going to push it up to GitHub, and it prompts me, or rather, it prompts you and says, hey, are you sure you want to do this? It'll just sort of give you an idea of how many commits. If we had multiple commits that we were pushing, it would list them all here. It tells you what files have changed. It's kind of a nice thing, and then I say, yep, push it up there. Or let's see, what's the other thing? Or force push. I do not want to force push it. Don't force it. It pushes back. Awesome. And so there in the IDE, I pushed it. And so if I go back to, probably still here. Where's my, there it is. Now when I go back to my GitHub, yep, now it shows that the changes were pushed up there. So, if you're super familiar with the command line, or if you have some moral objection to using the IDE for Git, fine, go ahead. And do it. But otherwise, you'll see me do that quite a bit because it's fast. I'll use use Command K and commit. Okay. So, yeah. Oh, yeah, great. So yeah, he clicked commit, and it's like, oh, now I want to push. So the way you push, there are a couple of ways. I think the easiest way is to go up under the Git menu, which you might need to expand in your view, and then you just say push. Yep. Yeah, and as you can see, you can do all sorts of stuff with Git from IntelliJ, and yeah, I found it again. It's much safer to do things through IntelliJ. I always mess up things with Git on the command line when I try to do something fancy. Whenever after you have like a dash dash option in Git, I'm like, oh no, I'm gonna mess something up. Cool. Yeah, dash dash forwards, no, no, no. Or when you merge and then you fast forward, and it's like, oh no, no, I want simple workflows in Git. Yeah, yeah, okay. Conflicts. That's really interesting. So, one of the things that you'll get to experience when you are pairing and mobbing is whatever there are, 22 of you all committing to a repository at the same time. That first couple times you see it, where it's just like, wait a second, I've been just coding on my own with my partner, and now we're switching, and so I need to do a git pull, and all of a sudden you get stuff from other people, and I've tried my best not to make sure there aren't conflicts in the code, but sometimes there are. Just like in the real world. So then you'll get to experience that, but that's in a couple of weeks. Excuse me. Anything else on the stuff we've covered? Yeah. So I think it's time for a break. Let's take 10 minutes and stretch our legs, clear our minds, replenish ourselves. And so, yeah, we'll be back at, let's take 9. Let's do 6:45 next round over. Okay, we're back. Awesome. We had a great break. It was nice chatting here during the break. Okay, so far in class, what we've been exploring these Java koans. We saw how to create the new koan project by logging in the PSU machines, running the create script. We then got the code from the PSU machine onto my local machine. We opened up IntelliJ. We've been seeing IntelliJ and how to navigate the code and how to work with it. And then we started solving the koans, where the idea is that each koan has this assertion statement that the statement is a statement of fact, and when that statement of fact turns out not to be true, then the koan will fail. And our goal as the people who are doing the koans is to get things progressively passing in a certain order that really helps walk you through the Java programming. And so we've done 2 of these so far. The last one was all about those assertion statements. And now I just want to do a couple more here in class to explore a little bit more about the Java programming language. So the next one that we're dealing with is about equality. And the first one is double equals tests if 2 objects are the same. Okay. So in IntelliJ, I want to look for the about equality class. Now, as you may recall, we found these ones by going over to the project navigation tab here and finding it. There's another way to navigate between classes, and it's like this. You go up to the code menu and you say, sorry, I don't know where's the menu. I saw the keyboard. Sorry, navigate. Navigate to a class. We can navigate to a class, file, put a symbol in a file, things like that. But we want to say navigate class because we want to go to the about equality, about equality class. Navigate to a class. So it opens up this. You just type the name of the class, about equality. Nice. There it is in beginner. And so you can select that. Oh, notice it's like, hey, that has the keyboard shortcut of Command O. So I'll probably use that in the future. And poof, here I am looking at this class. Anyway, that's another way to navigate between classes in IntelliJ. There's keyboard shortcut, so you can do it really quickly. Let's take a look at this koan. Double equals tests if 2 objects are the same. Oh yeah, this is what we were talking about with the assert same here in the last koan. Here, this further reinforces it. Okay, so then we have a variable called object, and we have the same object was a reference to that. So let's see here. Is the variable object equal? Does it refer to the same object as same object? True, right? Yeah, so this is a true statement. Does this variable object, does it refer to the same object as this new object that we create right here? No, it does not. False. Okay. Let's see if that worked. It went from 12 to 13. Okay. we'll walk through a couple of these at a time. Okay, so this this is all about showing you that the equals equals method can be used on objects. It can also be used on numbers, on primitive types also. Okay. There's the equals method. By default, tests if two objects are the same. Okay. So then here is an object. Right, here's a variable called little o object. It refers to an instance of an object. And is the variable object equal to itself? Coin, revolts.
True.
True? Yeah, right. You'd think so. We'll see if that makes it pass in a moment. Actually, we probably can. We can run it, and it was failing on line 21. Now it's failing on line 22, so that seems to pass. Okay. So we have an object, and is it equal to another new object that's invoked with a zero argument constructor? So are those equal to each other? So why do you say it's false? What makes you say that? No. But also the name of the method is equals method by default tests if two objects are the same. So these are the same. These are not. So I don't know. Let's find out. Let's find out. So we went from 13 done to 14 done. Great. And this is what I encourage you to do. This is how you're going to get the learning out of the koan. It's like, oh, good, I got it to work. And it's like, oh, but why? Right? And just like take, literally 2.5 seconds and just sort of read over. It's like, oh, right. Yeah. What is this trying to teach me? It's trying to teach me that the equals method for the default object class basically says, yeah, two objects are only equal if they are the same object. If you go to compare it to any other object, it's going to not be equal, which I think is a reasonable implementation for the default object. And then we'll see classes that subclass that derive from object override equals methods to do things that are more interesting. Like this right here. So here we have a variable of type object, which is assigned to a new integer. Now, does this object equal itself? I hope so. Right? Although, if there was a bug in the equals method, so the integer class overrides the equals method. And if there was a bug in it, and if you forgot to check to say, hey, am I comparing myself against the same object, then it might get it wrong. Or it might just implement the correct algorithm, but inefficiently. Now, does this object equal a new integer 1? Yes, right. So yeah, I think you're figuring it out, right? As I've been saying, I've been talking about integer overrides the equals method to compare itself, an integer, to some other object, and if that other object is an integer, it'll look at its number values. So yes, that passed. As a matter of fact, let's look at that. So one of the things that you ought to be able to do is actually look at the source code for classes like Java Lang integer. So if you right-click on it and you say go to declaration or usages, IntelliJ downloads, that's pretty big. IntelliJ downloads the source code for the Java classes, for the standard Java classes. It's all open source. And so now you can work with it. So I want to look at the equals method. So I think I can say navigate to method. Navigate file structure, I guess. And now it lists all the methods here. I can just type in the word equals to find it. If I spell it correctly, I can anyway. Here's equals. I can double click on that to navigate down there. It's nice and fast. Let's look at the implementation of the equals method in the integer class. Okay, great. It says, okay, public Boolean equals object. So this is the method that is inherited from. It overrides the method in Java Lang object. It does the following. So it's comparing this object, and I'm comparing myself to some other object. It can be of any type. So what does it do? It says, well, listen, if the other object is an instance of integer. So if it's an integer like me, great. What am I going to do? Well, I'm going to say whether or not my value is the same as the int value of this other object. And value here is the underlying, I'm going to navigate to the declaration up there. It is the underlying int primitive that is associated with this capital I integer object. So there's no magic here, really. Right? The equals method is just a Java method, just like anything else. And you can find that the declaration of that method here in the source code. Anyway, a little diversion right there. Okay. And I think this one's passing now. Okay. Yeah, here again, we're seeing something similar. So let's do this one right here. Equals method can be changed by subclasses to test if two objects are equal. Example. Isn't that kind of the same as this one? Oh, okay, interesting. There's a second one. Okay. I actually that's kind of interesting. So value 1 and value 2, are these equal? Yeah. They are. And let's see here. Value 1 equals what? Yeah, value 2, you can put it there. I wonder if you could probably also, yeah, okay, it thinks it's value 2. I'm gonna play around with this one. Let's see. Yeah, I'm curious what happens if you put like the number 4 in there. So let's see here. It's saying line 44 is next. That one must have passed. Yeah, what happens if you just put the value 4 here? Yep, that one passed also. And actually, that's kind of interesting. So the Java language has this thing called autoboxing, I talk about the lecture, where you have a primitive, and if you go to compare a primitive, you have a primitive value like 4, and it will, the Java language, the Java compiler will automatically convert that to the equivalent wrapper type. So actually what happens here at runtime is that the primitive 4 is automatically converted to a new capital I integer of the value 4, and now you have two objects and they can have equals methods. The equals methods invoke on each other. That's kind of a nice thing to know, but probably isn't at the forefront of your mind when you are doing things like this. Oh, I like this. Objects never equal null. So let's see here. Does a new object equal null? Yes. And actually, I'm gonna add one in here. I'm gonna call an audible here. What do you think this does? IntelliJ, you ruined all my fun. So what do you think this is right here? Okay, so what do you think happens? Like, what's the symptom you're gonna see? We'll compile. I think we'll compile actually. What is it saying here? Oh no, I guess you're right. I guess it won't. Actually, I'm curious. What happens? Oh, it blew up. Yep. One error for warnings. You're right. Yeah. So null cannot be dereferenced. Actually, good. This is cool. Okay. Great. So then, okay, we'll do that. Okay, great. So you can't do that. That's cool. Let's look at this next one. Objects equal themselves. So does an object equal itself? Thought we already established that, but it does. So that's true. Nice. Now, okay, sorry, I want to see that pass. Yeah, we moved on to about strings, so that one passed. I'm curious though. Okay, so I'm going to turn this back. Okay, I'm going to revert that change. What does that do? Does null equal itself? So it didn't compile up here, but this compiles. There's no red. What do you think that's going to do?
I think that OBJ will be null.
Yeah, both of the right. Good point. Both this reference to obj and this reference to obj are null. So true, false, true. Yeah. Ah, okay. what happened? Well, this is called an exception. So basically what happened is at runtime, something unexpected occurred. And what occurred was a Java lang null pointer exception. It says, oh, it cannot invoke object.equals because local one, which I think is like the left-hand argument, is null. So at runtime, the value of this variable is null. Now, what does null represent? Nothing, no object. You can't invoke a method on no object. And so what you get is a null pointer exception. And this is how it manifests itself. So basically, at runtime, the Java virtual machine is like, whoa, you just did something that like I don't know how to handle. I don't know how to invoke an equals method on the null object. And so it creates this exception and it throws it. Actually, are you familiar with the concept of exceptions? Did you learn about them in C++? Yeah, right. So the whole idea is that the runtime has this error reporting mechanism built in where you and in Java, it creates an object that represents the exception. And one of the things the object can do is tell you the code that was executing, like what line of code, what method and what line of code was executing when the exception was thrown. And then ultimately, while you can't catch exceptions, and there are Koans about it, and you'll read about it in the lecture, if nothing else catches it, then it sort of explodes out in onto the command line, and with this big old stack trace here. And you'll very likely encounter these things, these exceptions, in your program as you're writing things. But anyway, we'll revert this change, and we'll take it back to true, and then we will move on. Nice. Okay, now here we are at about strings. So let's go navigate to the class about strings. So as I was saying before, strings are a built-in type in Java. There is sometimes a built-in type as is one of the standard classes in Java, which is nice, right? Use string data a lot. You'll be using strings a lot in your assignments. It's things students can read. And so this and so this koan is all about strings. It starts off with like the craziest one. Okay, so then okay, let's look at this implicit strings koan. What do you think?
Maybe we need to type in like string into there.
What makes you say that? So like walk me through your thought process that led you to that conclusion.
Well, I saw get class, and
Yeah.
so I'm assuming that means that the class of just a plain old string is string. So I'm assuming that it's gonna compare like the types.
Oh, good thinking. Okay, string. Yeah, I want string. Okay. Okay, it's underlined in red. What is it telling me? Expression expected. And that's true. We're declaring it. Okay, that's cool. Hey, IntelliJ, can you help me out here? No, I don't want Sorry, what was that? There's something called string.class. Ah, that seems to work. At least it compiles. Let's see if that passes. Goes from 18 to 19. Okay, so I'm talking about Java lang objects, and it has all sorts of methods on it, and like equals, right? We saw a bunch of equals. Java lang object also has a method called getClass. GetClass returns an object that represents the class of the object it was invoked on. It's called a meta class, kind of like a mind-blowing concept, especially for the second day of class, right? So, or the second session of this course. And it's something that you see sprinkled throughout the koans. There was a time where I had a lecture on what's called the reflection API that Java lang class is a part of. It's a really advanced concept in Java. It's really kind of cool in a lot of ways. It's also like kind of unnecessary for what we're doing with it. So then I think what I want you to get out of this is that there's something called the class, class, and you refer to it. So you can refer to it in a couple of ways. You can have an object like this string here. You can call get class on it, and then you can refer to the class of a particular class itself also by using this name of the class .get class syntax. Say more. What do you mean by script exactly? Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, excellent. Yeah, yes, you could. Yeah. Um, another string. Get class. Yeah, yeah, I like that. That's yeah, I think this would work too. I think it would work. Yeah, it does. It perhaps maybe isn't the most correct answer. Um, right, yeah, I'm sure you know your Zen master would like look at you askance or something like that. Compiles and runs. You're forgetting the second part going after yes. Yeah. But yeah, exactly. And so then weird way to start off the koan, but it's yeah. But the whole idea is that you've got a constant here. Sorry, a not a constant, a literal string here, and this actually represents an object, right? So just like you can think of the number four. Number four, the literal four is FOR, FOUR is a is an int, little I int. Well, when you have text between double quotes or actually anything between double quotes, it is a Java line class. Sorry, Java line string. Okay, enough on that. Okay, let's get some stuff about strings. So, oh yeah, okay. So you can create. There is a zero argument constructor for string. And what do you think? Do you think that a zero argument constructor string is the same as an empty string? Yeah, think so. Yeah, probably so. Let's find out. Yeah, it is. Cool. Okay. And as it points out here, it's probably not something you use very often. Instead, just use literal string. Great. There's also There are also a constructor for string that takes another string in this constructor, and they create objects that are equal to each other. You think? Yeah, right. This is dot equals. Remember, so this isn't like is it the same object? It's like an object that is semantically equivalent. But yeah, it probably does. Nice. Okay. Go a little faster. Okay, so equals equals. Okay, here more stuff about equals. So I have a string with the literal value 0. I create another string instance from that 0 from that reference to the string 0. Are they the same string? Are they equals equals to each other? Yeah, okay. That's true, it does. They are not. And this is actually an important lesson in Java, especially coming from a language like Python or JavaScript, where, at least I think in the case of Python, that equals equals will do, at least on strings, will do semantic comparison. That's not the case in Java. Um, even though they are equal strings, they are not the same string. String also has a method called isEmpty. So is the empty string empty? Yes. Is the string 1 empty? No. Is a string created from zero argument constructor empty? Yes. Is a string created from an empty string empty? Yes. And is one empty false? Hopefully this is all pretty straightforward. Let me know if I'm going too fast. So there's one of these down at the bottom that I do want to get to. I know we're running out of time. Yeah, there's more of these than I thought. Rat. Okay. Length. The length of a string. What do you think the length of a zero length string is? Oops. Okay. 0. What is the length of the string 1? O-N-E. 3. Yeah. And then I don't know this one. Count it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 17. Did I get that right? Find out. 59. Yep. Cool. Okay. Trim. Trim removes leading and trailing white space from a string. So if you have an empty string and you trim it, what do you think you get? Empty string. Oops. And oh, I guess this one already was filled in. If you go trim the string 1, it's still 1. One more time with a trim. Yeah, one more time. One more time with lots of leading and trailing white space. Still one more time. One more time. Thank you, AI. White space includes tabs. So, and again, trimmed is and again. And lots of tabs, the same thing. And again. What about now? Yes, nice. Okay, I am going to, oh my gosh, there's so many of these, and you can figure them all out. It's like this one all the way down here. Okay, nice. Yeah. Okay, so here in our last couple of minutes of class, I apologize for going a minute or two over. I'm going to comment all of these out and go all the way down to this one right here, which is a little special. We're going to make sure this is the one that's actually failing. So line 164. Oops, line 64. Did I? Oops, something's broken here. 64 and about now. Oh, what about now? I let the AI mislead me. 167. Great. I'm going to go to line 167. Oops. I'm going to. Okay. I remember I go to line of macro one, I guess. Okay. Okay. So, line 167. Oh, okay. Look at this. Okay. There is a method called string.format, which you guys remember like printf and sprintf in C. You maybe encountered that before. The whole idea is that you've got some data and you want to format it nicely as text. And so then you use what's called a format string to specify the format of the string, right? So we say, great, this this value right here is going to be a number, it's %d, and oh, this is text, but it is right justified with format. You can do all this kind of stuff. And so Java has something like that in this method called string.format. Now, if what happens if you have a format string that says, well, I expect to have 3 strings, each %s is a string, and you only pass it 2 strings, what's going to happen? An exception is going to be thrown. Because you gave it some bad input, Java didn't know how to deal with it, and it expresses itself in these errors. And so then there is the syntax in Java called try-catch, where you can have code handle an exception. This is familiar to you. And when you catch an exception, you assign it to a variable, essentially, of a given type with a given name. And so this is saying, hey, any exception or any exception class, which subclasses Java lang exception, and we'll read about this in the notes, catch it here and handle it in this code block. And assign the exception that was thrown to this variable e. And now you can say e.get class. We've seen the class. Okay, what do we think? What kind of exception do we think is thrown here? How might we find out? What we'd find out is by looking at the API documentation for the format method here. And in IntelliJ, if you hover over it, it'll pop this up. It'll tell you all about, here's the name of the method, here's the arguments that it takes, and here's the description of the parameters. We'll see all this stuff in the Java doc a little bit later. And it says, aha, throws illegal format exception if the string contains legal syntax, blah, 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 or if the insufficient arguments for the given format string. Okay, so it threw an illegal format exception. Okay. And this throws an illegal format exception dot class. Let's see if that gets line 168 to work. Or line 167. Okay. Yep, line 168. Oh, this goes off by 1. That's interesting. Okay. Oh, nope. There it is. Oh, interesting. Now, no, it's still failing because it's an expected class missing format argument exception, but was illegal format exception. Did I say missing format? Oh, I guess the other way around. Oh, it's kind of backwards. So it's expecting, I think I told it should be an illegal format exception. It's really this missing format argument exception, okay, which is probably a subclass of the other one. So you just do it there. Sometimes it's the way it works with the koans, that you have to try something and then it'll tell you what's wrong. That's all right. Nothing wrong with that. Actually, true confession, it used to always tell you what was wrong. It made it really easy to sort of like cut and paste. Like, okay, there's 4. Oh, there's 5. And so I changed it so that it's like something other than underbar. You got to put a modicum of effort into it. So sorry, everybody. Okay, the next one is get message. I have no idea what the message is. It's like, huh? And what message would I expect to see? And now it'll tell me, oh, good, format specifier %s. And so, yeah, that's another way to approach this, is just to put in some bogus value and then it'll tell you, but have some discipline. Nice. Now line 176 is where it's failing. So I'm really glad that you brought that up because it's sort of like secrets of koans revealed. You got to mess around sometimes. So look at the Java docs, figure out what's going on, try something, and then it'll give you more clues about what's wrong. Sweet. Okay. Yeah. So then, any thoughts? Any immediate concerns before we head off into the event? No. Thank you. Yeah. When do I have to do all 268? You have until Tuesday. No. Remember, projects you do before class on Wednesday. No. Very good question. January 21st. Okay. Yeah. You got a couple weeks to do it. Although I do encourage you to start on it as soon as possible because they're 268 and you can hurt it. And next Wednesday, let's see, when do I assign project 1? Sorry. Project 1 is assigned, a week from tonight. So basically, in another week, you're going to have 2 projects to do. And so I cannot stress enough the importance of just getting a head start. It also help you get better at Java. You'll be able to understand what we're doing next week when we do test run development better. So yeah, please start in on it. And I don't have like guidelines on how you pace yourself. I mean, but sort of do the math. It's like, great, if you want to get this done in whatever it is, 2 weeks, figure out how many you need to be doing by when. Okay, awesome, everybody. Thanks. I appreciate you going a couple minutes over. Have a great week. I hope to see you on Monday when we'll talk about test run development. Thanks for joining everybody who's remote.